So today we are cutting to the chase. In this video, I'm going to explain exactly how to recover data from a RAID array. And we've got a lot to cover, so I'm going to jump right in so I can make this as quick as possible. And by the way, if you guys get any value out of this video at all, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and also share this video with someone who also might get some use out of it. All right, let's get started. So let's face it, right? When you're running safer versions of file storage such as RAID, things can still go very wrong, and you can lose your data due to hardware failure or human error or data corruption. Really anything goes, right? But really, regardless of what happened to the RAID and the data within, the process to recover all that stuff remains pretty much the same. We still need a robust piece of file recovery that's going to be able to find all the drives in the RAID and piece things back together without actually jeopardizing any of your data. And the one software that I always reach for this is Disk Drill. Now, the reason for this is really twofold. Not only is it among the most capable in the file recovery space, but with the latest version on release, RAID recovery is a feature built right into the software suite, which makes it an obvious choice for recovering data from a RAID array. And so, running Disk Drill 5, I'm going to run you through step by step exactly how to do this and recover data from a RAID array, as well as just some general best practices for a successful recovery. So first of all, why should you use Disk Drill and Disk Drill 5 specifically as your RAID recovery software of choice? Well, Disk Drill is multi-platform and supports the most common Windows, Mac, and Linux RAID types, including RAID 0, RAID 1, 5, 6, 10, RAID 1E, JBOD, and Windows storage spaces. The Mac version of Disk Drill supports all that the Windows edition does, plus macOS software RAIDs such as RAID 0, RAID 1, JBOD, etc. Now, I should say here that there are obviously different RAID configurations that you could be running, which, in theory will change the degree of recoverability between each configuration depending on which one you're running. However, generally speaking, all RAIDs except for RAID 0 are going to have a pretty high degree of recoverability just due to their straight up redundancy. So most of the time you don't really need to worry about it all that much. And when it comes to Windows storage spaces, Disk Drill also has the ability to recover from these as well, being that they're very similar to a RAID setup. However, regardless of what RAID or storage space you happen to be running, Disk Drill has you covered here as well. And on top of all of this, Disk Drill also supports a vast array of different file systems as well, allowing for Linux RAID recovery from ext 2, 3, and 4. It takes all the heavy lifting out of the equation and easily handles any Linux-based drive enclosure or NAS configuration setup. So it's got you covered in a multitude of Linux-based situations as well. Alright, so with all of that background out of the way, let's go ahead and actually get started on the tutorial bit, the step-by-step on how to recover data from a RAID array. And the first step obviously is going to be to get Disk Drill installed on our computer. So go ahead and download that and install it from the link in the description below. The next what you should do from there is go ahead and ensure that your RAID device or devices are connected to your computer. Now, if you're not sure that your RAID has been successfully connected to your computer, a really good way to tell is that it should show up inside of Disk Drill and in your computer itself. Now, as you can see here, if I navigate to the disk list inside the data recovery panel, you can see each drive that makes up the RAID. And if you navigate to the RAID panel on the left-hand side, you can see each RAID as one unit. And this leads me to something pretty important. So if you're going to be recovering data from a RAID array inside of Disk Drill, it is far better to scan the entire RAID as one unit than it is to scan each individual drive that makes up that RAID. This is crucially important because when it comes to RAIDs that have a high degree of redundancy, files will be stored across multiple drives. So scanning one RAID as one unit inside of Disk Drill will give you far better results and a much higher chance of recovery than scanning them all individually one at a time. That's a really important point that I needed to mention. Something else that's cool is that when you select one of your RAIDs from the bar on the left-hand side, you can view more important info about it on the right panel, such as the type of RAID you're running, its status and overall health, manufacturer, disk quantity, etc. And when you see the RAID status inside of Disk Drill, that specifically refers to whether or not Disk Drill was able to locate all of the drives within that RAID and just the overall health of the RAID itself. So there are three main status indicators that you might run into inside of Disk Drill, inside of the RAID panel itself. So the first is a valid status, which means that all the drives were found and no problems had to be corrected. There's the corrupted status, which essentially means Disk Drill had trouble finding all of the drives in that specific RAID. So if you have a RAID 10 configuration with 4 drives, for example, and Disk Drill only finds 3 of the 4, then it will give you a corrupted feedback in the status, but that doesn't necessarily impact the scanning or the recoverability readability of those files at all. It's just technically giving you that feedback. And then recovered actually indicates that disk drill did run into a problem, but was able to piece together a broken RAID or a missing drive successfully. All right, next step up on the list is to start the scan. So just go ahead and select your desired RAID from the list, then click search for lost data. And so during the scan, you can either wait for it to complete if you like, or you can actually preview the files that have been currently found during the scan in real time. It's a pretty cool feature of disk drill if you ask me. But next up, once the scan is completely finished, you can view all the files that were found on the RAID during the scan. You can sort them by file type, by name, or by any other metric really. You can also review the recovery chances, which indicates the structural integrity of a particular file and the likelihood that it can be recovered. From here, you can browse the files for a bit, and once you find the files you need, simply select the ones you want, or hit recover all to recover all of them from the RAID at once. And after this, go ahead and choose your save location. Now, something really important to keep in mind when choosing your save location is to not save them to the same drive you're trying to recover from. So you're trying to recover files and data from your RAID, do not export them and save them to that RAID itself. You can save it to your desktop or an external drive or something like that, but you always want to make sure you do not save the files to the same place you're trying to recover from. Very important. So once you have your save location chosen, go ahead and hit OK. And this will tell disk drill to recover all the files I selected from the RAID and restore them to the save point that I chose. And with that, we're done. That is how you recover files and data from a RAID on your Mac, PC, or Linux file system. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, always be sure to leave us a like down below. Also, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Let me know down below in the comments if there's any issues or questions with this video or something you want to see me cover in a future video. Always love to hear from you guys down below in the comments section, but that is going to be all for today's video. My name is Andrew. Until next time, thanks for watching.